What do you do when life takes a detour that you didn't see coming, like losing your job or your just general sense of direction? Sometimes the most sacred shifts can come in the form of interruptions, and sometimes those interruptions can feel more like an unraveling. If you're walking through a season of uncertainty like unemployment, you're not alone. Welcome to Motherhood and the Messy Middle, where grade school meets grown kids, hot flashes meet holy fire, and no topic is too messy for this village. I'm Robin, one half of the voice behind this podcast. Nicole and I are two moms who slid into each other's DMs and built a virtual village where we are inviting you into our honest, healing, and often hilarious conversations that help you feel not so alone in the beautiful chaos of motherhood and midlife. We talk about what it really means to mother, to grow, to fall apart, and rebuild, spiritually, emotionally, hormonally, and sometimes all before breakfast. So whether you're in the thick of motherhood, facing perimenopause, praying hard, or just tired of pretending you're fine, this space is for you. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Motherhood and the Messy Middle. So today, Nicole, we're going to talk about those unexpected turns in life, and we have
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have any of those. My life is perfect. It's straight and narrow all the time. I don't know what
That's
you're talking about.
because we've been using the term holy interruptions. So maybe I need to rephrase. So we're talking about holy interruptions, where you can literally say holy interruption is what we're especially for any littles who are listening, and you and I both trying to be, really good with our words and keep the cursing train to a minimum. So what are those moments that you know nothing about where plans are falling apart? Take us on your perfect curated.
I have a
journey.
picture perfect life, you guys. There's no interruptions ever. Everything goes as planned because I'm a planner. We all know I'm also a very good planner. None of those things are true, actually. But so for more recently, which is kind of what sparked the topic of this conversation, is that my husband and I we were both laid off. I had been with the Christian nonprofit for almost 10 years, and he had been there for almost 3. And it was, not only was it unexpected, but the timing of it was really unexpected. I was out on PTO going to speaking at an event on mental health and how to help equip parents and support parents when their kids are going through a mental health crisis. And I was driving there. I'm in Boise and it was in Portland. And I was driving there and got a call from HR, multiple calls trying to reach me. And I tried to put it off saying, I am on PTO. Please do not bother me. I will be back in the office. And they said, no, we have to talk to you now. And that was because they were laying my husband off, who was still working at the same day, and they needed to do it all at the same time. And so they laid us off in one fell swoop, and it's really yucky and just it was very unexpected. And so we've been navigating that with all the highs and lows.
I've been able to be friends with you. And for those of you who need the reminder, yeah, we still have not met in real life, but we were, Marcoing and communicating leading up to that time. And I can't recall exactly you're literally en route, in transit, driving hours to an event that is the calling of your work around bringing light to mental health, around, helping moms navigate all of these different aspects. Yeah. So then you get this call. What did you do? Well, how did you get through that?
Well, thankfully my parents were with me, so they were driving, because it would have like literally been a detour because I would not have been able to drive. Because I held it together during the phone call because they laid off my husband first, and they had told my husband that they were doing mass layoffs. And my husband asked, like, is that why you're trying to reach Nicole? And they, of course, said, like, for legal reasons, we can't say, but we knew. So I knew it was coming with the phone call. And yeah, I just put my hood on. I was wearing a hoodie. I put my hood on, and I called my husband afterwards. And my husband he's a very good partner and a very good supporter, and just said, like, we will get through this. Like, and I have a good village of women. So I text everybody, all of my close-knit friends, and some women who've been praying for me during this journey of trying to help with moms as they're walking through estrangement. And they all collectively said, like, God, nothing is a surprise to God. Like he knew this would happen. And I will say that, like, he met me with reassurance. So all in one day. It was a very exhausting day, Robin. All in one day, because we traveled the same day as the event, because the event wasn't until the evening, and it's only a 5-hour drive from Boise to Portland. So in the morning we got left super, super early, dealt with this phone call, spiraling in the car. Then we get to the hotel, and I get an email from the New York Post. Remember that? The New York Post.
I cannot believe these were all on the same day.
Same day.
Yes, now
Same
it's
day.
all coming back.
Yeah,
It's like the
same day.
Celine Dion song. It's all coming
yeah.
back. And
So
that
same
was,
day.
but that was like a God message. So tell
Right.
everyone what that was.
So she was like, I found your TikTok. I'm doing an article on kids coming home, college-age kids coming home for the summer. I found one of your TikToks, which, by the way, you guys, it was like the oldest TikTok that was terrible. The video was awful. The sound was awful. It barely had any engagement, but it got her attention. And so she's like, would you be willing to interview and talk about that? And I was like, at first I didn't know it was real. I sent it to everybody. Like, is this real? Is this, because I get scam messages frequently.
All the time.
Is this real? And we all kind of researched it. And we're like, we think it's real. And I decided at that point, whether it was real or not, it was enough of a God wink to be like, I still see you. I still see what you're doing. And I'm still going to provide opportunities for you, that it cleared my head in time for the event. So I went into the event not knowing if it was real and not caring if it was real, because it was enough that I felt like God saw me right where I was to give me the encouragement I needed to get my head in the right place to go into the event. And that worked. And the interview did end up being real, and she did publish an article, and that was wild. So, but it was a good, like, all in the same day. So then I went from that straight into the event, and wild.
And pretty much that was the same energy that then launched us into, we already had planted the seed and decided, yes, we're doing this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as that happened, I was just on fire myself with what was happening. And
because we originally talked about not doing the podcast till fall.
September. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, nope, God is tapping you. There were other things going on in my life that I was feeling all of the nudges as well. And so we just put the pedal to the metal, trusted, opened up, and here we are. I mean,
4 weeks later, we launched a podcast.
Yep. With 15 episodes recorded.
Insane.
As I was stepping into vacations and all of it. Yeah, it was really wild. Really, really wild.
We learned how to record, edit, we made platforms, post, or like, how do you publish a podcast? All of it in 4 weeks.
Yes.
Yes. That was fantastic.
Well, and something that just came to me is, the end result, even just speaking about the speed in which we were able to flow and publish the podcast, like when we talk about the tangible skills that both you and I have been learning over the last several years, in order to be able, even decades, I would argue, to be able to navigate all of these spaces, and then leaning on our spiritual practices to be open to God and hear those things, it really, to me, is a showcase of how that holy interruption really can just take things. Because it's like you took this huge event. I mean, to be laid off is big when it's also your husband and you have 3 children in the house who are like,
they kind of need things. They need food.
Yeah, they can eat you out of house and home. I mean, it's a wow. And then, yes, there were these things that are affirming, like, I'm still here, you're still in the right direction, but you didn't just passively let those things happen. You then had already been building the support, having a strong relationship with your parents, with your husband, with your friends, that then it's just, you had that foundation. And so that's when I look back on your story, and then some other things for me that, I think back to, that's really the determining factor, is what is the foundation that we are building when things are more steady and stable, because we all are going to have holy interruptions.
Right. Well, I feel like this is something I think that you do well too, is that when we go through these interruptions, we can look at the foundation we have, and we can see where things need to be tweaked, because these interruptions aren't not going to happen. It's just a matter of when they're going to happen, because life doesn't go as expected. So it's using these opportunities of interruptions to help guide us in what we need, what areas we need to strengthen or build up in our foundation so that the next time there's an interruption, we've already been working on it. It's that faith muscle that you have to grow. It's all of those things. And I feel like you're really good at having that self-awareness to say, like, this is what I need to implement, or this is what helps me have the most success when we have these interruptions.
Well, that's because you're seeing me on the end of a decade of
Of doing that work.
intense work.
Yeah.
And, the holy interruptions for me, like, especially around employment, it wasn't that I have had times where I was actually working at my dream job, and
Mhm.
that school district no longer exists.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was, I don't even know how long ago that was, 13 years ago. I'm still
Mm.
connected with a lot of the people that I worked with because it was literally a dream. It was an arts and science international baccalaureate school. And
Sounds amazing.
it's a middle years program. So it was grades 6 through 10.
Mhm.
And basically, it was a middle school model and a
Mm.
year round school. And we integrated art and science. Like, can you
Love
get
that.
more soul meat science than that? I mean,
Right.
there's
Yeah.
reasons that I gravitated towards that in my former professional life in education. And um, the long story short is that it was an integration district. So many school districts were paying money to
Mm.
fund this initiative.
Mhm.
And when the crash of the markets happened in 2000, 8,
Mhm.
excuse me, there was a lot of backlash that took, a lot of things, especially financially, the implications that we experience on a worldwide and government level, it trickles in and it takes a while to hit
Yeah.
us. And it ended up hitting school districts, around 2010 to 2012. And there were a
'Kay.
lot of different cuts and things happening. And so school districts, they basically decided to pull out of this integration district. And it was a really transformative experience for me
Mhm.
because we had the University of Minnesota. I live in Minnesota at the time. It was the University of Minnesota, and then there were multiple legislators that
Mhm.
came because the effort that the district was built on was actually on helping to end systemic racism and to
Mhm.
educate the other districts around it. And the
That's
amount that I
great.
learned in that
Yeah.
journey, not only working within that school system and these really innovative ways in which to teach at-risk youth,
Mhm.
talk about neurodivergence, our entire population,
Mhm.
and perhaps our staff were neurodivergent. And then to get the researchers and the
Mm.
politicians and be sitting at tables with them as they were
Mhm.
discussing all of these different pieces. It was wild, and it was,
That's
really
cool.
impactful to me
Yeah.
as a person, but as a person, I lost what I felt like was my home when I
Mm.
was ripped from that, and
Mhm.
I could only see how it came together many years later because of I didn't have as strong of a foundation as I do now, but
Mhm.
it was the same types of things that you're talking about. I leaned on at the time, my dad was alive. He was a
Mhm.
huge rock and supporter for me. I
Mhm.
remember he bought me a massage. Like, he was
Aw.
not into things like that.
Yeah.
He was a barber, he was a custodian, he was very blue collar and, like,
Yeah.
not, um, into a lot of the frou-frou type of things,
Yeah.
and he bought me a massage package because he knew that I needed to relax and, to be taken care of,
Oh,
and
that's so sweet.
yeah, it was all of these little things, and I, had my husband. I wasn't a mom at that time,
Yeah.
um, but in the midst of that, I actually was going through, um, a lot of IUI treatments, intrauterine
Mhm.
insemination. It was right at the start of our infertility, like, we already had years of infertility, but then we were
Mhm.
starting to explore options. So, I divert, and I actually am taken back to a different time and place. Does that ever happen to you where you're just like, this one conversation snapped me back to that, and it's like, "Wow, I can't believe I
Uh-huh.
endured all of those things." Do you feel
Yeah.
that way about even a couple months ago with the layoff?
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, like, it's yeah, twice this week I've been told, "Yeah, we haven't even seen you freak out yet," and we're recording this and it's August. And I remember in June, I remember telling you,
Mm-hmm.
if we reach August and we don't have full-time salaried positions, I'll start probably being in a freak out mode. And I'm not freaking out yet. And I don't see a freak out on the horizon because I'm so incredibly confident in God's provision.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but yeah, so I look, it feels like a year ago, and it was only a couple months
Yeah.
ago.
I mean, you've done a year's
It's
worth of work and
uh-huh.
reach in that amount of time.
Insanity,
Yeah.
but yeah, it feels yeah. Mhm.
You know, if I could go back to the Robin that went through, um, the dissolvement of the school district and having to
Mhm.
find a new job, and that finding the new job was actually like the worst job I ever had. Um, there's a whole bunch of stories behind that one, but I would tell her to ground herself in her faith. And if she doesn't know what that is, to find that and do
Mm.
some soul searching
Mm.
and get into some spiritual practices and explore what faith-based communities could look like.
Mm.
Because at that time, I didn't have that. In fact, that was the number one area of wellness that I was neglecting and resistant
Yeah.
because of having just so
Hurt.
religious
Yeah.
trauma
Yeah.
and trauma in my life that made me question
Mhm.
what my faith journey really could unfold to be.
Mhm.
But it all needs to unfold in that way. You know what I really appreciate is that you said that when you reached out to your village that they were saying nothing is a surprise to God.
Right.
I was about to cringe. I was expecting you to say, God only gives you as much as you can
Oh no,
handle.
we don't say that. We don't
Ugh.
say that.
I
My
mean, if you
village,
do, I
we
want
don't
to
say
be
that.
inclusive to everyone. I love
Here's
people.
my
I love
loving.
everyone's
Here's
expression of things, but come
yes.
on. Like, it's
Right.
so
And I think it's a
Mm.
journey, and I think I used to say things like that, and then I
Same.
learned that, and I learned more about the Bible, and I learned more about God, and I learned more from my life experience that God does absolutely give me more than I can handle because it increases my dependency on him. It increases my love for him. It increases my appreciation for him. It increases my need. All of these things that if I could do it all and save myself, then I wouldn't need Jesus. So why wouldn't he give me more so that I realize I have a need for him?
I like that. I've never thought about it that way.
So I disagree with the statement. I obviously would never say that to anyone's face. I would obviously be because everyone is on their own journey and in their own time they recognize these things. And I also believe sometimes we need to hear things that make us feel better when we're in the trenches.
Yeah.
Even if it's not always sometimes it's just fluff. Sometimes we need to hear fluff when we're in the trenches.
Well, and for me, I've heard that phrase so many times, even on initial introductions to people.
Mm.
Shaping part of my story is that my mom was killed when I was in kindergarten, and
Right.
I witnessed it. And people are always like, "Oh my goodness, well, look at how everything, God only gives you as much as you can." And it's like, oh,
Wow, that's a
okay.
terrible.
And then my dad lost his firstborn son died when he was 5.5 months old, and that was, I mean, when my dad shared stories of people saying that to him, I just
That's wild.
not the time and place. Sometimes silence is better than
Well, it goes back to everything we keep talking about of that silence is uncomfortable. And so
and
people
it's about
don't
holding space. Yeah.
Yeah, so they
Mhm.
don't do it because it's uncomfortable and it feels better to fill that space with a pleasantry. But silence is okay.
What I've been trying to do more of is, first of all, just showing up,
Yeah.
but showing up with food
Mhm.
and asking the question, how can I support you?
Mhm.
Or can I get you a glass of water? Like whatever it might be,
Mhm.
just trying to be of service without adding to the mental load of
Yeah.
people, with whatever they're going through. And
That's powerful. I mean, I think that's really powerful. I think something else that I feel like I've learned, my best friend, um, son has navigated some serious health issues. And from navigating some things with her, sometimes, I mean, you can't do this with everybody because, your level of friendship, but the decision to make, or the mental load to even make a decision of like, would you like me to bring dinner?
That can be
I
too
don't
much. Yeah.
yeah, like,
Mhm.
sometimes so I have learned that sometimes I think I saw a post on it once, and it was like it sent 3 options, like, "Do you want me to come take your kids? Do you want me to bring you dinner? My choice. Do you" and then it was like something else, "Just select one of the numbers." I was like, "That's brilliant." I love that. Like, alleviates an explanation and alleviates, like, I can just reply 1,
One.
number
Yeah.
1. Take
Yeah.
take the kids. I don't know. And I liked that because the decision fatigue is real.
Yes.
I have not navigated big T trauma like you've navigated it, and I feel it with decision fatigue, and so I can't imagine the fatigue and the mental load of more.
Yeah.
So
And, to really bring it full circle on what we're sharing today is that life will inevitably
mhm.
hand us interruptions. In fact, that's what so much of my work is predicated on is the
Mhm.
fact that it's
And why you
not.
practice inner fitness and
Yes,
why you that's what you teach and
and
coach your
holistic weight loss and
right.
wellness, it not only can exist when you are going through struggles, it absolutely will support you. I don't like using the
Mhm.
word should because there's just like toxic hustle energy around that and
Mhm.
comparison and everything else. I'm so intentional with my words, but seriously, the healthier that we are, but not in the way that society is making us think that it's surface. We
Mhm.
have to build inner fitness before we can have outer fixes. But the beauty of that is lifelong, so that when
Right.
roller coaster of life shoots you
Well, and it
another
helps
loop, you're strapped in.
well, and it helps with that discomfort that we're constantly talking about, like getting uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. Whether it's holy interruptions or whatever it is, like having the tools to practice inner fitness helps us be able to be really comfortable with being really uncomfortable because that's where a
Yes.
lot of life is happening in the discomfort.
And the connection between you and I is that, one of the inner fitness pieces, I teach practical tools.
Mhm.
And you do as well with prayer.
Mhm.
Mine look a little different, but the areas of wellness that I explore with people, one of them is spiritual. And that's
Mhm.
really the thread that um, has woven a foundation for me that has transformed my life in the
Mhm.
last decade. And that's part of our soul connection with
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
So, just to wrap up, remember these seasons aren't easy, especially in motherhood, especially when we are navigating all of the different challenges of midlife. Oof, that word midlife.
Uh,
Of of the pinnacle of life, maybe we
there you
should
go.
say. But even though they're not easy, they can help shape sacredness as
Mhm.
well. And you don't have to walk in those holy interruptions alone.
Mm.
We are here, part of your virtual village, so that you know that you're not alone. And we want you to help connect with your village by sharing this episode with a friend who might need it. Leave a review if it resonated with you, because we're really grateful to have you in this community. And it's part of our calling to help you feel connected,
Mm.
as well as other women just be seen in this beautiful mess that is motherhood and everything in between. So we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Hey, before you go, we've got something just for you. We created the Motherhood and the Messy Middle Resource Vault. It's a growing library of support that's just for you. So inside, you're going to find tools from both Nicole and my work, plus resources that we mention right here on the podcast. It's free, it's sent straight to your inbox, and it's always evolving, just like you. So take what you need, leave the rest. You never know when you're going to need it or when your group chat might thank you for it. So use the link in the show notes or head to motherhoodandthemessymiddle.com to get access and welcome to your virtual village.